wow, I'm just super excited to be here at NASDAQ. It takes a lot to get me in a suit, so I figured this is one of these occasions. And anytime I talk to somebody, they always say, how did you get into blockchain? How did you get into this space? So probably a good place to start is there. My other company that I own is called Seasoned Talent. It's a staffing firm, and we work with Exxon and a number of other big companies. They came to me and said, hey, we've got all these vendors coming to us, IBM, Accenture, and they want us to do blockchain, but we want our own guy in our own corner, right? Can you go find me someone that understands oil and gas and also knows blockchain? So I was like, sure. So get off the phone with them. I call the recruiters up and go, do you guys know what blockchain is? One guy says, I think it's Bitcoin. I'm like, no, these guys aren't going to do Bitcoin. So I started on my journey of learning about blockchain, and I just got blown away. I just remember the first time I went on Ethereum's website, and they're talking about setting up your own government and doing your own society and all these crazy things. And I'm like, this can't be real. So it took us about 2 weeks. We found a consultant and flew him in. And I said, hey, I want to sit in on this meeting. I want to be a fly on the wall. And they're like, yeah, no problem. So this meeting took about 3 hours. And my mind was blown, talking about how they could go through the supply chain and bring in the immutability and the transparency of blockchain to transform their business. And they were crunching numbers on ROI of money they were going to save. And I was just blown away. I was speechless. So on the drive back, my consultant's name was Eric. I was like, Eric, I have to be doing this. And I said a little stronger word than have to be doing this, but I'm like, I need to be in this. And so he's like, absolutely. So I paid for him to stay another day, and we spent 12 hours doing nothing but this is what this can do, this is what this can do, educating me about blockchain, all the different blockchains. And so I had a tape recorder, and I recorded the whole thing. I probably listened to that recording 8 or 10 times over the next 2 months because there was just so much information. It took so much for me to absorb it, but I was hooked. So we started going very methodically through all of our clients and saying, okay, do you know about blockchain? What are you doing with it? And I was blown away that most of the bigger corporate companies were like, yeah, we got some guys looking at this, doing this, but they're not doing anything. Well, one of the companies I was working with had a project with Audi. And they're like, hey, these guys don't know anything about blockchain and they need help. So I'm like, okay, what if I give you a couple consultants? They're like, no, they want a team of people to work. So I'm like, maybe staffing is not the right way to come at this. So I started contacting all the companies that I'd work with offshore, and that's how I met my partner, Max. He's like, oh yeah, we're doing blockchain. I'm actually building a blockchain right now for our project. It's called Now, N-A-U. So I got really interested. I was like, okay, you need to schedule like a 6-hour call with me. He's like, what? I was like, I'll pay you if I have to. I need to know about this. So he's like, no, we want to do more stuff. So we spent 6 hours talking about everything that he was doing, all the stuff. And I was like, could you do a Hyperledger Fabric project with Audi? He's like, oh yeah, we got 3 guys. So that was kind of like our first project. And then we had another company that we met. They're out of Austin, and they're like, hey, we need to launch an ICO. And I'm like, what's an ICO? And so I'm talking to Max, and he's like, oh yeah, we're in the process of doing one for Now. I was like, so is this something that people need? He's like, absolutely. I'm like, but how do you offer a service when it's brand new and nobody knows how to do it? He goes, we're figuring it out. I was like, done, I'm in. So through the whole process of doing the Now token sale, just picked up the knowledge, learned how to do this, and it's just been growing ever since. One of the things that we really identified early was companies that were doing, raises, they would have their Bitcoin or Ethereum address. And it's this nice, huge, long 16-digit number that you're supposed to just throw money to the universe and expect to get your investment back. And you kept getting stories about people getting hacked and all these things. So we said, okay, we need to build a platform that allows people to run a token sale and do it in a way that's secure, a way that you can visualize it. So for the Now project, Max built what he was calling the investor's cabinet, right? You have a login, you get in, you start using it. And the more we started looking at this saying, this is really, really good. And then over some time, we met a guy named Loughran, and we had some projects going on. We said, hey, we need your help, Matt. He says, great. And then we started kind of going further on down the line, and he learned about the investors cabinet. It's like, I've got a project, ooh la la, I need that. And we really started looking at it, and with Matt's help, it kind of transformed from what we had to having integrated KYC and AML, a referral program to where when you go and invest in this token sale, you get a link, and you can send that to all your friends and family. And then they say, wow, this is great, I want to invest. And then they would get tokens automatically in the vault. Well, what we didn't realize, and was kind of something that we learned through the process, was every time someone would refer someone to the token sale, they would go back into the vault and look to see, here's my bonus tokens. And we started seeing them investing more and more and more into these projects. We're like, how can we continue to drive people back in here? Because if it was a one-time investment, that's great. But if we can get this guy or girl to invest 3, 4, 5 times, plus keep telling their friends about it, this is going to be a successful token sale. So the product evolved. We changed the name from Cabinet to Investors Vault because we wanted it to feel, this is secure. This is a software that we're developing for you, and we're going to give it to you to run your token sale on. And it's just been explosive from there. We have 5 projects right now that are currently using the Vault, and we're doing blockchain development for. But we weren't necessarily just happy with where we were. We were seeing so many companies coming to us and saying, we need help with this, we need help with that. And quite frankly, we didn't want to work with them because they didn't know what they were doing. And we were worried that if we put our names on these projects and we start working with these guys and they fail, then that's going to be on us. So it was this quandary that we had, right? It's like, we want to help these guys, but we don't want to be involved in their deal. We don't want to put money into their deal. So we decided, okay, we can at a minimum let them have the investors vault. We can let them buy that. And then maybe we can give them a little coaching around this. So I started talking to people in my network, and there was a global incubator that I work with, and I said, here's the problem that we're having. We've got all these people coming to us, and some of these ideas are good, but if we go in and invest in these projects, and we put our money in, we're thinking a year down the line, 2 years down the line. They might not be around 2 years. They could just burn through all of their money and be out of business. We all probably remember the dot-coms, what happened to that. So I said, so there's got to be a better way to do this. So through kind of a multi-month brainstorming, kind of a structure that we're talking to this global incubator about is they want to put a fund together here. And they're talking about putting serious money into this thing, $100 million. And the idea is there'll be an ICO launch company that will run the entire ICO. So this fund will put 50% of the money into the ICO that we pick. So it's got to meet the criteria, right? We just don't, anybody can't come and get 50% invested, right? From there, there'll be the blockchain development piece where BlackchainSaw will be a part of as well, and other companies that we bring in to partner. But once they're done with their crowd sale, that company now becomes part of that incubator. And they have 150 partners globally. So they say 3 things: money, mentorship, and market access. So for this new startup that now has a nice chunk of money to run their company, but they might not have the ability to open up the markets they need to do. They might not have the understanding. We were in Vegas, Coin Agenda, and I won't say the name of the company because I don't want to embarrass them, but we're sitting there and they had a $30 million token sale that they just finished. I said, what's your biggest problem? What's your biggest point of pain? I was shocked when he said, I need to hire a CPA. That to me is the first thing. Okay, you've got a CFO, you've got your business run. You go raise money to go do the other things. The number one thing in your mind after you raise money shouldn't be, I need a CPA. So really, we felt like this is something that is very needed, and quite frankly, just the energy that we want to put out and have come back to us to be positive, good energy, and we really don't like telling people we can't help them, even though it is what it is. So if we can set this structure up with this fund and everything that we're envisioning, then I feel like we can help more people. Maybe some of these younger entrepreneurs that have a great idea, want to do it, but just have no idea. I mean, I've built, I'm coming on 6 businesses now. I have lessons that I can point to and go, that cost me 100 grand. That was a mistake. These guys don't have that, so hopefully we can provide it to them. Well, I want to thank you all again for allowing me to speak at NASDAQ. We are humble and grateful at the opportunity, and thank you so much.